What was the song? I left it in. Listen.
It was such a good one, and an obvious key. Take Me Home, Country Roads by John Denver. One of my favorite.
Is that the original dude?
The OG.
Okay.
One of my favorite core music memories was being in Dublin, Ireland for St. Patrick's Day and being in a place called Temple Bar with a bunch of American tourists all singing Take Me Home, Country Roads. I think it might be the most patriotic I've ever felt.
Oh.
In all my life, maybe.
Really?
Yeah.
All
Made
right.
me feel like the 4th of July, only it was St. Patrick's Day.
You have to go all the way to Ireland on St.
Yep.
Patrick's Day.
Funny enough, now I'm realizing my second most patriotic I've ever felt was the last time I went to Ireland, and we were in a place where they were celebrating 4th of July because they thought that it looked like dumb, drunken fun, and they wanted to be like the Americans. So they showed great American movie, Mamma Mia. Yeah, it's about Greece, and it's songs by a Swedish group, ABBA.
That celebrating the 4th of July in Ireland while watching a movie set in Greece by a Swedish group.
Yeah, that's America,
That's America.
baby.
That's the damn melting pot.
That's what we're talking about.
That's the dream.
Yeah, well, it was the dream.
Well, no. That's still the dream.
Okay.
A whole bunch of white people getting together to celebrate their different whiteness. Like, that's the dream. Got to keep
Drinking a
everybody
cold
else
one.
out of it. Yeah.
Well, anyway, that song's great. It's just a good.
You bring that up. I listened to MGK's version yesterday.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
What are the odds?
Yeah, I don't know. Something in the atmosphere.
Take Me
Other
Home,
than
Country
fall.
Roads.
This is the second day. It's just been really
Looking
foggy.
out on the river this morning.
You can't see across
Nothing.
it. I couldn't see the bridge. There was a
Absolutely
truck that
nothing.
wasn't moving, I don't think. But
That's not
outside of that,
good.
I couldn't see anything.
That's not good. What's up, everybody? It is Wednesday, February 5th. It is going to be a good day. Jessica Benson with you from the Grind City Media Studios in Memphis, Tennessee. CJ Hurt behind the glass coming up on today's show. Trade deadline eve in the NBA. Everybody wants Kevin Durant. Everybody thinks they can get Kevin Durant. Are the Suns really going to give up Kevin Durant? We'll get into all of that. The Grizzlies play in Canada tonight. Final game before the trade deadline. Elite jersey matchup with the Grizzlies and the Raptors facing off in one of the best injury reports we have seen all season long. We will get into a little oops, we missed it again. The Luka Doncic introductory press conference yesterday in Los Angeles. Asia Wilson's shoe dropped with Nike. And what has been my favorite WNBA free agency move thus far was announced late last night. No D'Angelo Williams today. He is at the Super Bowl, but we will have a special panel situation here on the show today. It is National Girls and Women's in Sports Day, and we will have special guests from the University of Memphis joining us in studio, talking about the advancements of women's sports in the city and looking forward to how that can continue forward along with the growth that we have seen. Two of their newest coaches, Cheri, Lindsay, the new Memphis volleyball coach, Trena, Prater, the new Memphis softball coach. We'll also have Christina Wiatr from the 901 Women Initiative. I hope you'll join us for that conversation. It should be a good one. It's a Wednesday. You know what we say. If you make it through Wednesday, the week.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
Memphis Cat is back with his Heaven on Earth tour.
I tried to be incognito, but thanks to Shannon Sharp's loud mouth, the gig is up.
February 22nd in the FedEx Forum.
In my spare time, I infiltrate the Illuminati, look for their secrets, run back, tell y'all.
Don't miss this year's most talked about comedy icon live. He's back with brand new material, an unmatched wit, and an electrifying performance. Get tickets at Ticketmaster.com.
When it's all on the line, you turn to the strong, the stable, the unwavering. To those with a history of raising their performance, to meet the moment. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies checking from Pinnacle. Play hard, bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item. Whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
Grizzlies fans, dunks, dimes, and no-looks are great on TV, but nothing compares to catching them IRL. And that starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight in person. From seeing your favorite Grizzly stars up close to hearing the squeak of the sneakers on the hardwood. Put that jersey collection to use and get tickets at Ticketmaster. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside, Memphis.
Is Hulkamania officially dead?
Yes.
When you have over 17,000 people live and you have Netflix premiere the biggest day in WWE history, and meanwhile they boo him out of the building?
Hulk Hogan, I'm coming for you.
That is your core audience, and they don't want it.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
Feels great to feel the sunshine. Gotta own the day like it's all mine. Just got paid in his own time. Been working hard, I've been on the grind. I deserve this feeling, having my way. I've been on this healing. This is my day. The sun's out, ay. Let's have a little fun now. Ay. I wanna let it all out. Ay. That's what it's all about. Ay. Ay. Cause I deserve this feeling, having my way. I deserve this healing. This is my day.
Grind City Media presents The Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt. Live from the Grind City Media Studios on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday to you. Happy Grizzlies game day. Middle of the week as we continue on. We're trade deadline eve. Do we call it the trade deadline eve when it is 8:06 in the morning?
What do you
Is
mean?
that still the eve? Like Christmas Eve is all day before Christmas, but when I hear eve, I think evening, like the night before Christmas, the night before the NBA
But
trade deadline.
we call Christmas Eve all day.
Yeah, but
the
I think about
24th
the
is Christmas
nighttime
Eve.
activities. Like New Year's Eve, you think about the night of
All-
New Year's
but
Eve, but
all
all day.
day is
But
the
why do we do
Eve.
this? I feel like this is one of those things in the American language.
What?
An eve.
An eve simply means the day before. I think you're confusing
Evening and eve.
Yeah, but
My whole life, I think I've wrapped eve into
Eve
evening.
is not
Yeah,
the
yeah, I know.
prefix of need.
Yeah. Merriam-Webster says it's the evening or the day before a special day, and the NBA trade deadline is a special day. How did you spend your trade deadline eve?
Watched Ole Miss beat the absolute dookie out of Kentucky. Kentucky needs a point guard. Bad.
Real bad.
Their point guard is injured right now. I don't know what the status is on when he is to return. They're running a couple of freshmen out there at the point guard spot, and it is just not helping them. It also doesn't help when you're playing that type of a schedule in the SEC. Tennessee on the road, and I do believe they went to Arkansas. No, they got Arkansas at home in Cal's revenge game, and then you go on the road to an Ole Miss team. Oh boy. Like I'm looking at some would call him, some by Dick Vitale. Shout out Dickie V.
He's coming back this weekend.
PTP. Morrell for Ole Miss is a PTPer. Like he's just a dude who can go out there and get buckets the same type of way that Haggerty is. Morrell is that for Ole Miss, maybe even a scooch better. They switch everything over there down in Oxford, and that switching defense gave Kentucky fits all night long. After that game, because it's a couple weeks till March till we do that bracket. One of my favorite things.
Not yet.
What do you mean not yet?
It's February 5th.
When is March? Is March not like 3 weeks away?
I mean, yes, February is a short month.
Okay,
but
and so
we take every month as we get it.
Oh well.
Live each month as if it is your last.
Circled Ole Miss. I might be willing to pencil them in to like an Elite Eight type of situation.
Dick Vitale is going to be on the Duke Clemson broadcast on Saturday. I just saw this morning. His first time that'll be on a basketball broadcast in 2 years. He's had 4 different cancers in 4 years. He just keeps coming back and back and back. But he'll be on a broadcast on Saturday. I watched an episode of The Penguin last night.
Which one?
6? 7?
Just something prominent.
He's got everyone.
Got you.
They're cracking beers in a parking lot.
You.
That's my cue for you. I wished that I would have watched the Houston-Brooklyn game. Did you see how this game ended last night?
No.
Rockets-Nets. The Rockets were up, and of course, Grizzlies fans always keep an eye on the Rockets at this point because of how the standings are playing out in the Western Conference. And the Rockets have been struggling since they lost to the Grizzlies in this building last week. But the Rockets were up 4, 9.5 seconds on the clock. You get a 3 from Keon Johnson. Okay, whatever. Nets are still going to be down 1. They're going to have to foul. Rockets go to inbound the ball. It's a mess. Everything does not work out. And then D'Angelo Russell hits a 3 and puts the Rockets up 99-97. 3 seconds on the clock. Houston not able to get a shot. So the Nets beat the Rockets. Teams who were up 4 in the final 10 seconds of regulation going into last night were 266-0. 266 straight teams, if they held a 4-point lead with 10 seconds to play in regulation, had won the game until the Houston Rockets blew it last night. And now the Grizzlies have a healthy 2-game lead on the Houston Rockets as we sit here on February 5th. And what a crazy world where the Houston Rockets, one of the best teams in the West, have 2 losses to the Brooklyn Nets. I cannot believe
a
true contender could have 2 losses to the Brooklyn Nets.
They didn't beat the Nets at all?
They lost to the Nets.
The Grizzlies beat the Nets. The Grizzlies got a win over the Nets this year.
Yeah. I think it was the most recent of the only one that matters.
Listen, the
Is
Rockets,
my most recent memory a Grizzlies win over the Nets?
Yes.
I think so.
Yes. So.
Yeah. That's a shame, Rockets.
You can't be a true contender if you can't beat the Nets. And the Grizzlies have shown an ability to beat the Nets.
I've seen it with my own eyes.
Yes.
I watched it.
Took them 3 tries, but they beat them once.
I saw those. Was that when Ja had 2 360s in the same game?
Was that the 360
win?
game? No, I think the 360 game was the loss.
We don't talk about that.
Okay.
I only remember the Nets win. So that's the only game that I'm
remember the Nets
thinking of.
wins and the Ja 360s. That's the only thing we remember.
Yeah, that's what happened in those games between Memphis and Brooklyn. So yes, Rockets riding a 4-game losing streak. Grizzlies riding a 3-game winning streak into their final game before the trade deadline tonight in Canada. Shout out Canada. Shout out return games for Zach Edey, Brandon Clark, the Canadians on this Grizzlies team. Grizzlies, Raptors, I believe both will be wearing their throwback uniforms, so it will be an elite jersey matchup. And if it is the final game for a player on one of these teams, at least they get to go out looking good, looking their best. The Grizzlies PR injury report rolled out yesterday, and I did not know what to do with my hands because I have not seen a Grizzlies injury report quite like the one we saw yesterday in forever, in like 2 years. The Grizzlies only have 2 players out. Desmond Bane with his ankle sprain, foot sprain, and Cam Spencer with the thumb surgery recovery. But 4 players questionable. Brandon Clark, John Conchar, and most notably, Marcus Smart and Vince Williams Jr. Do we see any or all of those players tonight in Toronto, CJ?
I think we see most of them. The 4. I think we see 3 of the 4. Now, which 3 of the 4, I'm not sure. But I think you see 3 of the 4. Hopefully, it's both Marcus Smart and Vince Williams Jr. Because now's the time. You're almost to the final push. Like the All-Star break comes, and people think of the All-Star break as like the midway point of the season. No. The All-Star break is damn near 3/4 of the way through. So after the All-Star break, you've got to be humming. And so hopefully this is Marcus Smart and Vince Williams Jr., both of them coming back so they can start reintegrating themselves into the system and into the team. And we can start trying to figure out what these lineups are going to look like. Because you can't run 13.
Probably not.
You can't do that. There's not enough time in a game.
You can't.
But so much about what I hear from experts, analysts, players is what made them effective coming off the bench or what made them effective in their role is knowing, hey, I'm going to play this much. I'm going to play this much, and I'm going to have to do this, this, and this. Well, if you're running 13 dudes, you don't know how many minutes you're going to play on a given night. So we've got the Grizzlies have got to get more consistency in their rotation. I think those 2, and Smart and Williams Jr., are 2 of the dudes who will be in the rotation in some sort of a capacity.
when you don't have the knowledge of how many minutes you're going to play, what you're needed to do, who you're going to play alongside with, it can be tricky. I do think a couple weeks ago I said, gee, before I make any definitive statements on what I would like to see the Grizzlies do at the trade deadline, I sure would like to see Vince Williams Jr. and Marcus Smart back on this team and what they look like within the rotation. When I said that, I did not mean for one game and one game only before the deadline hits tomorrow, but that could be the case of what we get. Also, it is worth noting that in this season of thoughts, and you know my thoughts on thought season, that hooper over there, everybody gets real enticed by that hooper over there, that hooper over there, who you're trying to talk yourself into being the answer of having that real winning relationship in your life, in your team's life, being able to chase a championship. Players end up on injury reports, end up off injury reports. Sometimes you're running guys to show what they can do. Sometimes you're trying to get one last look yourself. Sometimes a player gets taken out. So it is the biggest day of injury reports in the NBA of the season when you try to see who's available for what teams. And my favorite part of thought season is that it can be a random Tuesday afternoon and all of a sudden out of seemingly nowhere, everybody can convince themselves, or some can convince themselves, hey, maybe the Grizzlies will get Kevin Durant before the trade deadline. Should we put the music on? Should we put the music on? It is here for it. Just lay it low. Lay it low. Let us have this hypothetical recorded, allegedly conversation under the beds. Because there haven't actually been...
Under the what?
Under the beds. I was trying to say like music bed.
Okay,
but,
I got you.
You know.
I didn't know if you meant under the sheets and you were saying, but you were saying under the bed. And I was like, wait,
you know, under the bed. That's what these thoughts, you might think under the sheets. But when it comes to reported allegedly season, we got to put it all the way under the bed. The latest, CJ. The Suns want Jimmy Butler, and Jimmy Butler wants the Suns. We know this. However, the Suns are probably facing a situation where Bradley Beal is unwilling to waive his no-trade clause. So how can the Suns, Brian Windhorst, emoji, meme, emoji. How can the Suns get Kevin Durant while not getting rid of Bradley Beal? Or excuse me, get Jimmy Butler while not getting rid of Bradley Beal? Perhaps. They could trade Kevin Durant. And The Athletic reported yesterday that the Warriors are interested in Kevin Durant. The Dallas Mavericks, fresh off shipping their 5-time first-team All-NBA 25-year-old Luka Doncic, who got them to the finals last year. Well, the Mavs could be interested in Kevin Durant. The Houston Rockets, who have lost twice to the Brooklyn Nets. You want to know who would have helped them not lose twice to the Brooklyn Nets?
Kevin Durant.
Former Brooklyn Net Kevin Durant. Those are the three teams that were noted, and obviously the Warriors kind of being at the forefront of this. Kevin Durant, also a former Warrior, won a championship there. The Warriors are desperate to put another all-star superstar next to Steph Curry, trying to take this for one last ride. They are looking high and low. They are making every phone call imaginable. They are 10th in the Western Conference right now. They would like Kevin Durant. And according to The Athletic, in exploratory conversations, the Warriors have only been met with an exorbitant asking price in theoretical structures. I love it, exorbitant asking price in theoretical structures. Essentially everything of future value, considering the tricky spot the Suns seem to find themselves, because the Suns need to get enough assets that they can give them to Miami, so Miami would give them Jimmy Butler in return. Weak sources say 4-time All-Star forward Draymond Green, who has an established relationship with fellow Michigan State alum and Suns owner Matt Ishbia, is among the Warriors players Phoenix is known to covet, as is Jonathan Kuminga, as is just about every asset the Warriors could possibly give Phoenix for Kevin Durant. So I ask you, would you trade all the Teen Titans for Kevin Durant?
No.
I wouldn't either.
No.
But if there is one player who makes me, like, maybe, it's still Kevin Durant.
Really?
Yeah.
Listen,
he's one of the best offensive players we have ever seen in the game, and he's still got the juice.
Is he one of the best offensive players we've ever seen right now?
now?
Or is he very good?
I think he's better than very good.
Okay.
But maybe not the best.
All right.
Is that fair?
Yes, I think it's fair. I would say that he's a very good offensive weapon right now. He's not an all-timer right now. He's not the greatest ever right now. So what am I going to be willing to give
still
up?
Kevin flipping Durant.
No. He's Kevin.
Kevin?
He's Kevin now.
He's KD.
He's I wish Kevin was longer. He's
inward legs.
Yeah, like he's just Kevin. He's Kev. He's Kev.
He's Kev.
He's Kev. He's got the bifocals on now, right? Like he's just fine.
I'll keep him at Kevin.
I'm not giving up an arm and a leg to go get a guy to pair with another guy. Well, I'm also like like Steph is fine. Steph is beyond fine. Let's be clear. Both of these players are beyond fine. Teaming them up together, I don't think that they're better than any of the top 4 in the West. So why am I giving up all of these assets for them? Sometimes the best move you make is a move you don't. Sometimes.
You don't go chasing thoughts.
No. Let those hoopers over there stay over there. Now, if you're telling me, hey, you've got to give us all of these assets so we can then use them to flip them to Jimmy Butler, I would say to myself, well, hell, why don't I just try and go get Jimmy Butler? And again, I wouldn't want to go out there and get him. We see how this is going to end. We know what's going to happen with Jimmy Butler. But no, I'm not. If I was general manager of the Warriors, no, I'm not super interested in getting Kevin Durant.
If I'm general manager of the Suns, why do you want Jimmy Butler instead of Kevin Durant?
Like that seems like a one for one. Like it's the same thing. Out of the frying pan and into the fire.
I think the Luka trade broke everyone. Like I said, there is before the Luka trade and after the Luka trade. And we are all existing in a space of, well, anything could happen. Miracles could happen, disasters could happen, anything and everything could happen. And I think we've lost the plot. I think we've lost the trade deadline plot, but we'll see.
That's what makes the trade deadline a good trade deadline.
It's such a good trade deadline. We're talking about it more than the Super Bowl. Gary and Bennett brought that up yesterday, and I've really dug into it ever since. Everyone's talking about the trade deadline.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about
Luka.
Luka.
NFL took Christmas, NBA took Super Bowl week. Like, suck it.
Take that, Roger Goodell.
No, man, come on. Hey, sometimes you just got to look around and say, okay, what does this move do for us right now? And then what does it do in the long term? Even in the long term, let's say next year, the Warriors end up with Kevin Durant and Steph Curry on the team. The Suns are running around with Draymond, Booker, Beal, and Jimmy Butler. Are either one of those teams like, oh, that team is clearly a top 6 team in the world? No. So what are you doing? Why are you doing this?
For funsies.
You're doing it because the Warriors got accustomed to buying your way to a championship. And the Suns are like, oh, we can do what the Warriors did and buy our way to a championship. And I don't think you can do that right now.
It's a different world. My thing, and I agree with you, don't go chasing transactions. Just like you don't go chasing waterfalls. Don't just chase a transaction for the sake of having done something before the trade deadline. For a team like the Grizzlies, I am all in on the now. And we'll take a quick break. We'll come back around. We will get into one of the other reported alleged trade pieces of news from yesterday involving Lonzo Ball. Not really that keen on it because of the now and the Grizzlies trying to compete for a championship this year. We'll talk about that on the other side. We will also get into some of the WNBA free agency news. The new A'ja Wilson signature shoe from Nike dropped. All that and more when we come back.
Sitting right next to me, am I right? The one and only Jay Huff. Were you comfortable there in your seat?
I'm great. I've been adjusting it, playing around with the height settings.
What are you exactly? 7'1" or 7 even? Or
I say 7'2" because I wear shoes.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizzbeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Our fans have a huge impact on our ability to play to the level that we're striving for.
Drop off, Durant. Oh! Well, you wanted home crowd involvement.
I love those moments where you see our guys engaging in the fans and the fans just get pumped up.
They are standing in FedEx Forum.
I would hate to be on the other side with the opposition when FedEx Forum's rolling. That's such an unbelievable relationship that our group has with our fans.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals takes it straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
A night of comedy with Sebastian Maniscalco and Jim Gaffigan.
Now, is this a family? Is this your mother? Where is she? Is she in the crowd? You don't know where your mom is. The mom's up there. What kind of family is this? I'm sorry.
Sebastian Maniscalco and Jim Gaffigan.
I went ziplining for the last time. What is wrong with us? Would you pay $200 to feel like you're about to die 6 times?
Live in Memphis, FedEx Forum, Friday, February 21st. Get tickets now at livenation.com.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
I did a video and I thought it was pretty funny, and I said, well, I'm gonna post it on TikTok and see what it does. You know, we watched Alabama beat Miami. We had no idea that the video was blowing up the whole time we were beating Miami, or we would have kept doing it. Yeah. So I told Tide roll. The Tide, tell them we'll Tide roll, baby. That's what they do.
We always gonna get beat because you cannot mess with the Tide.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
How about them
How
Tigers?
about
Go
the Tigers?
Go.
Beat Tulane in a game that nobody called. Nobody thought was going to happen. They were a 2-touchdown underdog, and they got the win.
Number 25 in the AP right now, number 24 in the coaches poll right now. So this is a Tigers football team that's going to end the regular season ranked in both major polls, possibly ranked in the CFP as well, with 10 wins. That's a damn good season.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Doom.
Oh, All right, welcome back on this trade deadline eve. Michael Scotto over at Hoops Hype reported yesterday that there are multiple talks involving Lonzo Ball and the Chicago Bulls, and he listed the Memphis Grizzlies as one of the teams interested, along with the Pistons and the Timberwolves. Lonzo Ball back. One of the best feel-good stories of the NBA this season, returning from his knee injuries. He hadn't played since January of 2022. He comes back. He's been described as spry, averaging 10 points. He's shooting 40% from 3 assists, 3 rebounds, a steal, 24 minutes of action in his last 11 games. He's on an expiring contract worth $21.4 million. I would do just about anything for Kevin Durant. I am on the opposite side of you with KD, CJ. I think he's still excellent. I think he's still great. One of the greatest in the game.
Right now.
Right now. I'm willing to say it. He's averaging 28 points.
I think he's a top 15 player.
We disagree. I'd mortgage the Bass Pro Pyramid. It's not mine to mortgage. I'd rent it out. I'd say, look, I can't look now. There's fog. Can't see anything in this damn city this morning. Can't see down the street. When it comes to a move like Lonzo Ball, this is where I'm out on just about anything, especially with Vince and Marcus potentially returning to the lineup. I look at this team, and the number one thing that I want them to improve upon is a defensive-minded wing. Who is getting out on the perimeter on the opposing team's best players during the playoffs? Are you relying solely on Jalen Wells, a rookie who has been tremendous? But are you willing to risk it all? Are you willing to put all of your expensive-ass eggs into one basket for Jalen Wells? I get more enticed when it's Jalen Wells and Vince Williams Jr. and Marcus Smart and, hell, throw Gigi Jackson into that mix. Like, that feels like a confident amount of defensive depth to rest upon, where I'm like, I don't necessarily need another facilitator. I don't need a backup point guard that Lonzo Ball would seemingly give you. I also don't need the financial piece of it in the long-term game of how that could impact this team. Because again, I'm not thinking about the long-term game. I'm thinking about right now. Like, I want it now. I want this team to compete for a championship right now. And I can't get behind it.
Adding, as great a story as Lonzo Ball is,
I don't need it.
Adding him to this team, what are you giving up? Because you're not just going to say, hey, give me Lonzo. What are you going to give up to get him? And 1, 2, it feels very much like a dude who, it's like, oh, great, he's in the game. Look at him. We weren't expecting him to be in the game, but he's playing well. Like one of those break glass in case of emergency type options. And I don't think you need a break glass in case of emergency. If you need to break glass in case of emergency later in the season in the playoffs, you've got dudes who've shown you what they can do, who've already been here, who know the system and know where they fit into the system. Lonzo Ball, to me, on this team would feel a whole lot like Jitty or Jake LaRavia, and I don't think you need another one of those. In fact, I think you should probably start trying to
Again, we can't play 13 players.
and say, all right, let's move some of this stuff on down the road.
Yeah.
The Lonzo Ball, I don't think anybody are Grizzlies fans excited about the potential?
I saw legitimate excitement.
I don't understand why. I don't think.
Thought season.
Listen, hey, you got to let that hooper over there stay over there sometimes, man. No, leave him where he's at. Nah. Again, back on the Kevin Durant thing.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Durant would allow you to do some real interesting things offensively, but what are you giving up to get him? And understand, because I think this is going to be the case with Kevin Durant also. Like, when it's up, it is up. That window is now. You go out there and get Kevin Durant, and that's fine. If you're like, hey, we want the window open right now, we want to make the push right the hell now, you got Kevin Durant this year, and I think through next year, and then that's it. And everybody's got to go if you don't hit, right? Everybody's done at that point. Coaching staff, star players, like you're starting over from scratch if that's the case. So I wouldn't risk it with this Grizzlies team, because this Grizzlies team seems to be on the upswing. Right. Now the Celtics, you thinking about them, right? The Celtics had their guys, had Tatum, had Brown, had Smart.
And they had to get rid of Marcus Smart.
They moved on from Smart because they upgraded that Smart position. They got a dude who did what Marcus Smart did a little bit better than Marcus Smart, right? But when all of them there, they took a swing at Kyrie Irving. Yeah. Right? Don't forget the Kyrie Irving year, where they're like, okay, we think we got something special here. Let's bring somebody else in and let's do this. So maybe you can go out there and make a push for a big name free agent or make a trade for one of these type elite players in the game right now, and still, if it doesn't work, keep your core group. But oftentimes you don't. Oftentimes you end up like the Raptors, where you're like, okay, we got to give up DeMar DeRozan to get Kawhi, and then we get him, we get that one ring, and then everything leaves after that.
It all comes down to, do you want 10 years of sustained success? Would 10 years of conference finals trips and no trip to the NBA finals be better than one ring? Would you risk it all for one ring?
You're not guaranteed to get that ring.
You're not, but what if you did?
You're not guaranteed to get it. I would take the 10 trips to the conference finals because I'm giving myself a chance. I'm guaranteeing myself a chance to at least go out there and compete for something. You're not guaranteed a championship just because you go out there and you say, I don't know, I'm gonna sign Paul George and I'm gonna sign this guy over here. I'm gonna sign Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. What are you guys gonna do with that? Well, hell, look at them. I'm going to sign Kyrie and KD and James Harden. Well, hell, look at them. How those things play out.
You can never guarantee anything, but you can line up.
That has failed more times than not. More times than not. The big three Heat, it worked. Kevin Durant on the Warriors, it worked. And I don't think it's worked again. I don't.
You at least have the direct example, and that's big three, sure. But you do have the Kawhi for DeMar. Toronto wins a ring. You do have the Celtics making a very difficult decision in losing someone who was not just important for the team, but the city in Marcus Smart. They win a ring. Sometimes those kind of things have to happen. Anyway, we'll see.
Shaq.
We have a whole other day of this.
Shaq, Kobe,
Gary
Payton, Karl Malone. Fell
Speaking
apart
of
in
Kyrie
5,
Irving,
right? Like, no.
He's in the grieving process. He had his first comments following the Luka trade yesterday, called it a ruthless business, said they have to acknowledge that their little Slovenian president is no longer here. Were they calling Luka their little Slovenian president in Dallas? That's my biggest takeaway.
No, that's Cheri being weird.
My little Slovenian president.
That's
He also called
Cheri
him his
being odd.
hermano.
He's an odd one.
I loved it.
He's got handles, though, so we let it go.
It is crazy to think that they only had one season together in Dallas, and they went to the finals. And then they just shipped Luka off to Los Angeles. He had quite the busy day in LA yesterday. He had his introductory press conference with Rob Pelinka and JJ Redick. The three of them popped up. They were all dressed for very different occasions. Everybody has used this as an opportunity to dunk on Rob Pelinka's outfit of the day. He looks like he is in a community theater production of Grease. He is Danny Zuko. It is quite the choice of a leather jacket.
Is that what you thought when you saw it?
Yes.
I thought I'm bad. I thought Michael Jackson.
Well, MJ moment?
Yeah. In the subway, dancing, twirling, grabbing himself.
Maybe it's just because Michael Jackson looked so infinitely cooler. Like there's something, I'm not saying John Travolta in Grease wasn't cool.
Like his whole character
that's why
is cool.
I said it's the community theater production of Grease. This isn't on Broadway.
What about the Fonz?
That's also a little Winkler moment.
Yeah. Who else wore a cool black leather jacket?
Johnny Bravo. No, he wore a black shirt.
No, it was just a black shirt
No,
and jeans.
I'm thinking of someone, it's a cartoon character.
Okay, come on. Is there a catchphrase? What station was it on? Who else was around the character?
Rugrats. The cool older dude on the Rugrats. The baby where he's like taking candy from a baby.
Yeah, was that on the playground?
I think so.
Angelica fell in love with him?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
That's why, okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna figure out his name.
Anyway, Luka talked on the trade, said he was almost asleep when it happened. This is in congruency with Anthony Davis saying he and his wife were just about to start a movie when he got the call. Talk about a surprise. Luka thought it was April 1st. Thought it was April Fool's Day. Said he thought he was going to play his whole career in Dallas. That loyalty is a big word for him. If I'm a Mavs fan, I am just shutting down all screens for the week because I don't want to hear further reasoning on why this was an insane trade for the Dallas Mavericks to make. But then Luka went and sat on the bench for the Lakers game last night, and the Lakers proceeded to beat the Clippers by 25 points and had just a stellar game. It was the most welcome to our home. We want all of the furniture to be arranged nicely. We want to put on a good presentation. We even took the plastic off the furniture because we wanted you to see how nice it is and how much we're taking care of it. And now we get to add you to this equation. The Lakers are fourth in the West. What did you just come up with, CJ?
It wasn't a baby.
It's a teen.
Yes, he was in Dee Dee's class. His name was Raymond.
Raymond. He has a name?
Rocco.
Did we see his face?
Yes, we did see his face.
For some reason, I thought he was one of those characters in cartoons where they cut their head off.
Tommy wanted to be like him, and so he would do the like cool baby thing.
That's the one.
Yeah, that's him. What about
He changed Tommy's diaper.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and everybody was like, "Oh wow, this dude can change a diaper."
Anyway,
that's amazing.
The Lakers need size. There's not anyone real like sexy they can go out and get. But the Lakers are good. And they just added Luka Doncic. Like, that's what I took away from last night. They're technically in fifth, in the West. 29-19. They're a game behind the Denver Nuggets, who are in fourth. But they're right up there in the upper echelon. It's not like the Lakers aren't the Warriors, right? Like, the Warriors are struggling to stay in play-in territory. The Lakers are really competitive right now. And anyway, they looked good in their game last night. A wild scene it will be when we see number 77 in purple and gold for the first time. CJ, I have a game for you. It's National Women and Girls in Sports Day. You made our chat question of the day. Which of these is your favorite woman and girl in sports? You can only have four options. You chose Simone Biles, Serena Williams, Billie Jean King, and Caitlin Clark.
What?
It's time for my favorite game.
Yes.
Name a woman. Back and forth.
Billie
Until
Jean
someone
King.
misses it. Has to be in sports.
Billie Jean King.
Caitlin Clark.
Ronda Rousey.
Sydney Colson.
Katie Ledecky.
Asia Wilson.
Sue Bird.
Sabrina Ionescu.
Mia Hamm.
Megan Rapinoe.
Trinity Rodman.
Nafisa Collier.
Sophia Smith.
Oh no, this is harder than it seems. Jordan Chilson.
Venus Williams.
Maria Sharapova.
Serena Williams.
Simone Biles.
Wilma Rudolph.
El Marone.
Dominique Dawes.
Cheryl Miller.
Nancy Lieberman.
Oh.
That's the most right person on this show, Jessica. You're probably not going to win this.
This is hurting me at the moment. Kelsey Plum.
Cheryl Swoops.
Lisa Leslie.
Oh, now I got to think.
Got you on
Sophia
your toes
Smith.
now.
That's
Cameron
Sophia.
Brink.
Oh, now Angel Reese.
Katie Ledecky.
Maria Sharapova.
I already said Maria Sharapova.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
I
fine.
did say
Both-
Ledecky.
okay, then both of us are
Good job, Jacob.
Then both of
Yes,
us are-
I
no,
win.
no, no, we could- no,
I
no,
win. I win because you lost. I said Ledecky. I win. Most right person on these airwaves once again. The furthest right person on these airwaves. Don't you dare challenge my allegiance to the women and girls in sports. Woo! Thank you, Jacob, for paying attention because I was not.
It's weird how your brain just breaks on those things. Anyway, congratulations, CJ. Thank you for supporting women. It was really a test. I just like to test the men in my life to see if, they're supporting the women in each and every facet of the game. Game recognized game. WNBA free agency is ongoing, and a move happened last night that has been my favorite of the WNBA free agency period. There have been many moves. However, what the Indiana Fever did last night got me so excited. The Fever, if you haven't been paying attention, they are really active in ensuring that Caitlin Clark and company have a true contending lineup next season. A contending roster. They have Caitlin Clark. They have Aaliyah Boston. They made sure that they re-signed Kelsey Mitchell. That was a big one. They acquired both Natasha Howard and DeWanna Bonner. They traded for Sophie Cunningham. They still have Lexi Hull. And now they have made a move that is literally my favorite of WNBA free agency. They have signed Sydney Colson, face of the WNBA. If you know, you know. She has spent the last 5 seasons in Las Vegas. She won 2 rings there. First and foremost, on the court, she gives the Fever a backup veteran point guard. And you might look at Sydney Colson's stats and be like, oh, she doesn't really give that much of anything. She doesn't score. She's averaging like 2 points a game. That's fine. The Fever do not need another high-volume scorer. They need a veteran backup point guard who can help manage that offense. But more importantly, Sydney Colson is the funniest player in the entire WNBA, and I can't believe that they let Caitlin Clark get Sydney Colson, because not only is Caitlin Clark one of the best women's basketball players we've ever seen, she nails all of her interviews. She has had the poise. She has handled the transition from college to the WNBA and all the stardom around it so gracefully. And now she's going to have the best content in the league. The Fever are going to have the best content in the entire WNBA next season.
And probably be a
contender.
Be the
a favorite? Are you saying it?
I don't want to. I would think Vegas is still the favorite. Whatever the Sun were, they're done now. Move the Sun all the way to the bottom. So the Fever absolutely jump above the Sun. Remember when all the games we were getting in the WNBA, the first week of the season, 2 weeks of the season, was Sun Fever. So move the Sun all the way down. I like what the Aces have done in the off season, and Asia Wilson is still there, and to me that's the best player in the game right now. So I would think that the Aces would start off as favorites over the Fever, and the Liberty. But outside of those two, I don't think it's anybody else. I think that the Fever have gone from worse for the past 6-7 pre-Caitlin Clark, 6-7 years of just being awful, to getting Caitlin Clark and being like, oh, that's a playoff team, to now legitimate title contenders is what this Fever team is. That's Jacob. Don't pay him any attention. So yeah, I think if we did the odds, I'll look them up. But if we did odds on WNBA championship, it would be Liberty, Aces,
I think it's the
Fever.
Aces. Adding Jewel Lloyd is. Now, granted, the Aces have lost a handful of peripherals, including Sydney Colson, including Kate Martin, who's been lighting it up in Unrivaled this offseason. I'm intrigued. But I will say, they're going to let Caitlin Clark be funny on top of it all. Because when you're with Sydney Colson, you're inevitably linked in the funniness. Ask Asia Wilson. Some of the posts about Asia Wilson, I don't know if she deserves entire credit on this, but part of the reason we started making the jokes about A'ja Wilson and Bam Adebayo's secret relationship were further fueled by Sydney Colson. And we did get the A'ja and Bam hard launch over the weekend when A'ja Wilson's jersey was retired. We also got the first look at A'ja Wilson's signature shoe with Nike. It is the A1. It is pink. I love it. More than I even love the shoe, I love the clothing line that's coming with it. So Nike not only with the signature shoe, but having a line of apparel along with the shoe. There is this like pink short and hoodie set, and the hoodie is lined with satin. I'm into it.
You know why?
For hair.
There we go.
Yes.
All right. Now look at you being an ally. We are two of the best allies ever.
We try.
We do. WNBA Finals odds. This has been updated on Vegas Insider as of January 31st. So this trade here recently hadn't affected, and some of the offseason free agency moves haven't affected it either. Liberty at plus 200, Aces at plus 250, Lynx at plus 350. Forgot about them, but I think this move moves the Fever ahead of the Lynx. And the Fever right there at plus 900. So.
They're gonna be insufferable.
Who?
The
Caitlin
Fever.
Clark fans?
The Caitlin Clark fans.
I can't wait. We're gonna get numbers. Caitlin Clark. Clip it. Let's go.
Now they're gonna have such good content. They're gonna take the ball. Like
Angel
they
Reese,
already had a
Angel
good
Reese, Angel
content
Reese.
team. You're just saying names.
I'm just
Taylor Swift.
There we go. Wait.
Those
Beyonce gives us stuff too? Beyonce.
Man, but
Beyonce.
the Beyonce haters are out in force.
Beyonce is not a good live performer.
Beyonce's the greatest
is
live
a
performer of all
performer.
time. You can take that as the furthest right person on this show. You can take the Beyonce
because
hater side.
that wouldn't be the right stance to take. Because the worst performer of all time is Rihanna. She's terrible. That's the right take. It's been a while. We hadn't gotten a lot of Rihanna clicks.
No.
But now maybe we will.
It's Rihanna, if you could pronounce her
Rihanna.
name appropriately
My
on this Women
apologies,
and Girls in
Rihanna.
Sports Day.
She's not a good woman and girl in sport. I don't have to pronounce nothing correctly.
Everyone can be a woman and girl in sport if they think hard enough about it.
Yeah. Just making Rapinoe pose. Just.
You want to know? I'll tell you during the break. We got to take a quick break.
Come on.
When we come back, we have some special guests. I hope you will join us for a very exciting conversation coming up next. The University of Memphis has two new coaches of two of their women's team. Trena Prater, the new Memphis softball coach, and Cheri, Lindsay, the new Memphis women's volleyball coach. They both are awesome. I can't wait for you to learn about their stories and how they ended up here in Memphis. Along with them, we will also have Christina Wiatr, who is the Associate Athletic Director at the University of Memphis. She's the creator of the 901 Women Initiative. This is all about how to make women's sports even greater here in the city of Memphis, how it can ride alongside the national movement of women's sports continuing to catapult into another dimension. We'll get into it with all of them after a quick break.
Can't wait. It's time to get it popping. It's gonna be crazy. The fans are gonna be loud. We need just energy.
We're gonna need, the Forum rocking. We're gonna need, everybody in Memphis to be out there to come to support.
When the fans are good, we're good. Simple as that.
A Bane three, yes sir! Desmond Bane with ice water in his veins.
We'll ride the energy together.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Anticipate each challenge. Make a quick response. Capitalize on every opportunity. And win. Greatness won't wait. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
It's your turn to drive into luxury at Southland Casino Hotel. Join us on Saturdays to win your share of up to $1 million in free play and prizes. And don't miss the chance to take home luxury itself during the grand finale drawings. Drive off in a 2025 Land Rover on February 1st or a 2025 Range Rover on March 1st. 2 vehicles, 2 finales, 1 million ways to enjoy luxury only at Southland Casino Hotel. Must be 21 or up. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing compares to catching your Grizzlies IRL. And that all starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight. Put that jersey collection to use for the next game and get Grizzlies tickets at Ticketmaster. Whether they're here at FedEx Forum or on the road, Ticketmaster's got your back when it comes to scoring tickets. And there's no better brag than saying you saw it live.
Derrick Rose was honored in Chicago this weekend.
That was cool.
Former Memphis Tiger. One of the things I've noticed about him, he's immensely respected by his peers.
Yes.
People love him. People love Derrick Rose. I don't know exactly how to pinpoint it, but he matters to people. The impact that guy made in his hometown, on that franchise, and just on basketball in general, he deserves. There ain't an honor you could give him that I would argue with.
The Gary Parrish Show, live on weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
If I was a high school player, or if, let's say I'm the father of a child who's 16 years old, and Mike Vick comes knocking on my kid's door, and Virginia's there also, and so is Virginia Tech, I'm like, yo, you gotta go where Vick is. You gotta go to Norfolk State. Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning into HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
We'll just have a conversation Welcome back. It is a busy day for the University of Memphis. Both the men's and women's basketball teams in action. Men host Tulsa right here at FedEx Forum later tonight. Women on the road at Temple. 10 a.m. tip-off. It is also the 39th annual Girls and Women in Sports Day in this country, a day empowered by the Women's Sports Foundation, meant to highlight all of the amazing efforts of women in sports. And to help us with that, we have 3 very special guests joining us in studio. We have, to my right, Trena Prater, new Memphis softball coach. Next to her is Christina Wiatr, Associate Athletic Director at the University of Memphis and creator of the 901 Women Initiative. And to my left, we have Cheri Lindsay, who is the new Memphis volleyball coach. Thank you all for joining us this morning on this National Women and Girls in Sports Day. Because you guys are both new, Trena, you were hired in August?
Yes, ma'am. 2 weeks before school started.
And Cheri, you were hired like 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
So I want to start by giving people the opportunity to get to know you, because I think one of the easiest ways to help people support and know how to get out and go to these games is to know the coaches at the front of it. So Trena, first for you, what made this the right decision at this point in your career to come and coach at the U of M?
Yeah, they call this summer. Obviously, I'm coming from Campbell. I was there for 2 years, won back-to-back championships there. And then when I was going through this process, Memphis was in the AD transition. And so to see Dr. Scott get the job about a week before they were making a decision of who to hire for the softball coach kind of was a no-brainer. His vision for the athletic department kind of aligns with the way I coach. He's wants to support Olympic sports. Obviously, Penny's doing his thing in basketball, and then football is winning championships and doing what they're doing. But the rest of the athletic department he wants to support. So for me, that meant a lot. And I've rebuilt other programs in my past to become championship programs, so I love the challenge that Memphis kind of had for me.
And Cheri, you're the new coach of the Memphis volleyball team.
Yep.
What was it for you that led you here to the University of Memphis?
Yeah, so I'm coming here from Prairie View A&M, which is also my alma mater. It was a tough decision to make, but for me, it was about seeing this program, we played Memphis this year, and kind of seeing what they had to offer and knowing that they still had some more in the tank. And it was just a great opportunity for me to come here. We did great things at Prairie View. We built the program up in 3 months. We took them from being voted 11th to being second every year in conference. And so for me, I thought that we did a really good job there, but I wanted that new challenge. I love a good challenge. Definitely enjoyed my conversation with A.D. Scott when I came on my interview, and very similar to Trena. I mean, it was just, I felt like he was a competitor. I'm a competitor, somebody who's going to support volleyball, and that's what I want. I have to have that support, and I got that vibe from him, so I was really excited, and I'm excited to be here.
Christina, you get to work in Dr. Scott's athletic department, and you have been so critical in the 901 Women Initiative. How have you seen through his leadership a continued evolution of sorts in putting a spotlight on women's sports, not just from the basketball side of things, which is fantastic on its own right, but trying to help elevate sports like volleyball and softball?
Yeah, I think you think about day one for him in his press conference, and girl dad, and he lives and breathes that even in the office. And so from day one, his support, whether it's with women's soccer and Brooks, but really all the programs, and really challenging us, like, how can we fully support them? So whether it's through 901 Women, he's been a great support to Laws is Light and helping that effort as well. And, as we enter this new kind of era of college athletics, women's sports continues to be at the forefront of his plans, which I really appreciate. And I know these ladies do too as well, so.
Absolutely. It's such an exciting time for women's sports across the country, and that certainly carries over to here in Memphis, from Caitlin Clark mania taking over a WNBA league that was ripe for the moment. We just saw Asia Wilson get her new signature shoe with Nike, and even just the reactions to it have been so exciting to see from a woman who works in sports, and just the overall care factor. One of the other big sports that has taken off, softball always has its moment, I feel like, during the NCAA tournament every spring. Volleyball has really carried itself forward, too. You see the images of Nebraska where they have sold out these insane crowds for their volleyball games. When you see something like that, Cheri, what does that inspire you about, okay, this is where the sport is going, and we can be a part of this?
Yeah, so I mean, I think you first have to talk about volleyball itself. I mean, volleyball is one of the biggest female sports in the country, and selling out 92,000 people in a stadium, a football stadium, is a big deal. But also, like, these club tournaments, these young women that are playing club all the way from 11 years old all the way up to 18, they've been really getting it done. And so, seeing those type of things, and seeing like how volleyball is such a fast-paced game, usually when people give it a shot and they come and watch, they're kind of blown away by every single point is action, right? And so they end up getting hooked to it right away. So for me, if I can get you in the gym, you'll come back every single time, because it's just that type of a fun experience. And I know that's something that can be done at Memphis, and it's awesome seeing like teams like Nebraska, teams like Texas, these bigger teams just generate these huge crowds, and I think it's something that can be done anywhere. So I'm excited to see the growth of volleyball.
It's such an interesting phenomenon, because I feel like every Olympic cycle, volleyball is one of those sports that people get sucked into, both from beach volleyball and team volleyball, and they say, I should watch more volleyball. Yeah. And then for whatever reason, we're just conditioned into our habits. But what is it specifically? You talk about, the quickness of it, the speed, the rapidity of which a game can change. But when you look at volleyball and why it can cast a wider net from an audience draw, what stands out to you the most?
I think just these women are competitors. You know what I mean? Yeah. You go and watch them, you see like the kind of stare downs through the net, you see that stuff that kind of gets people excited. They're jumping up high, they're touching almost 11 feet and just slamming balls down, and it's just really exciting. And so that just kind of speaks for itself as far as just what makes it so exciting, because every single play, you got players falling on the ground, they're throwing their bodies around, they're getting balls up, they're working extremely hard, and all of that can happen within a span of 9 seconds. And so, yeah.
It is very fun. Every time I end up at a volleyball match, I'm like, oh my God, this is great. I wish I came to more. The same thing truly goes for softball. It goes for everything. But Trena, for you mentioned coming here from Campbell, where you were the 2024 Coastal Athletic Association Coach of the Year, but you have a playing career yourself. You played at LSU. You were once a semifinalist for the 2002 College Player of the Year, a 3-time All-SEC softball player. When you look at the changes from the time that you were a player through early years of coaching to where softball sits now, what stands out the most in terms of that growth?
I think the growth across the country of facilities, the diversity in the sport has changed now. If you look at our roster to now LSU's roster, it's different. I think the fan base, Oklahoma obviously is a trailblazer in our sport right now with the three-peat of national championships, and they continue to upgrade that Hall of Fame stadium in Oklahoma. And so in seeing that, the ESPN coverage of the sports, I think that's what's allowing our sport to get more exposure, whether it's on ESPN Plus, we got SEC Network, ACC Network, like softball in this spring is everybody's watching. Everybody's watching. So it's fun. That's probably the biggest change. We're getting the exposure, kind of like women's WNBA is getting now. But the sport itself is fun. It's fast-paced. If you like baseball, I think you'll love softball.
Well, and you played softball professionally, and I think that's something casual fans don't quite understand is the professional opportunities. We've seen such an evolution, not just with the WNBA, but the National Women's Soccer League. We've seen it in hockey. Where do you foresee professional softball and kind of the growth opportunities there?
Yeah, it's growing. Athletes Unlimited right now is our platform for professional softball, and I think we have the right leaders in place. We have former athletes some were my former USA teammates and professional teammates that are now the women leading the program that have that platform and understand the game, not just from a financial aspect, but the management piece of it. So I love that it's growing, and I hope that it continues to grow, because for me, for 7 years, I was able to be a professional athlete. Just to be able to say that, do that, and live that is special, because most women's sports, we don't have that platform after college.
Christina, platforming is so important. She mentioned the golden word, facilities, is always helpful with recruiting. How has the Memphis 901 Women Initiative helped lead Memphis in trying to take it to the next level when it comes to supporting and funding women's sports?
Yeah, I mean, we're just 3 years in. In that 3 years, we've done projects at the Finch Center. So a lot of people are familiar with the Finch Center as the old practice facility for men's basketball. So there's a lot of love that needed to go onto that space, and there's still things that we need to do to that space to really make it the most competitive environment for Cheri and her team. Softball, we've also done some projects over there as well last year, and then obviously with Loz's Light, that's probably our biggest project that we've taken on, and so we're getting close. We still have a gap there we need to close to make that facility a reality, but our hope is in the fall to have the groundbreaking for that. So I mean, in 3 years to have touched 3 of our main programs for women's sports is pretty impressive. So
yeah,
still work to be done though.
Of course, and the success of the Memphis women's soccer team, I mean, they've consistently been one of the best in the country, so it's exciting to ride on that kind of momentum as well. One of the things I love most about being able to talk to women in sports and trying to inspire future women in sports is the notion of if you can see it, you can be it. I think sometimes it's just people seeing somebody and their journey that led them to where they are at any given time. So I'll start with you, Cheri. What was your beginning with volleyball? Why was that the sport for you?
It actually wasn't at first.
Oh, interesting.
I loved basketball. I was a basketball player. And when I went to high school, my coach, Julie Buckley, she saw me on a basketball court, and I jumped up and grabbed the rim. And she was like, "You want to play volleyball?" And I was like, "Sounds good." And so I went and I tried out. I was late at 14, trying to play high school volleyball, but it was something that just came really easy to me, and it was something that I was like, wow, I could be really good at this. My parents had never, dealt with volleyball. They didn't understand the club thing. They didn't understand, the expense with club and all that. And I fell in love with it, and so it's been something that I've done now through college and everything like that. That was awesome. And then I got my first coaching job straight out of college 2 weeks before I graduated, and I was actually in denial that I was a coach, because everybody in my family's a coach. And I was like, it's not me, I'm just here to get my master's. And then I just fell in love with it, and I couldn't imagine doing anything but coaching and growing these young women.
You mentioned everybody in your family is coach. You have a very athletic family. In doing some research going into this, and we all realized the 3 of us are all from the Denver area, which is very funny that we all ended up here in Memphis, Tennessee. You grew up in Denver. Your brother is Philip Lindsay, who played for the Broncos for a little bit, played at CU Boulder. Did you just have a straight athlete family across the board?
Everybody.
Everybody.
My sister played college basketball. Phil, of course, played at Colorado, but Zach right under him played at Northern Colorado. Marcus at Colorado State Pueblo. And then my dad played football at Colorado State. My uncle played at Utah. All his kids played at Oklahoma State. It's just a lot of football and me, volleyball, and a little bit of basketball in the family. So
that's incredible. And Trena, for you, was softball the first sport, or did you have a similar journey where it was bopping through some others before you realized that was the one that hit?
Yeah, it's pretty much basketball and softball. My number one love was basketball. Yeah. Like, if I could dribble with my left, I probably could have made it to college playing hoops, but I didn't have the...
If I'd grown 4 inches,
right?
I tell myself I would have, yeah.
My mindset was a 6'1" post, but I'm a 5'4" guard. But, yeah. No, I always played on good softball teams, and my basketball teams were average. I was, like, the best player, and then we kind of played a lot better teams than us. So I kind of went where, okay, what's going to get me to college? Probably for free at the D1 level, and I was elite. Softball came easy to me. I was a pitcher shortstop my whole career, and then kind of transitioned to being that player. In high school, I had to decide I was trying to play AAU basketball and travel ball, and that didn't work. So mom's like, you got to figure it out which one you want to go with, and I went with softball because I had better relationships with my teammates as well, and I like to win, and so we won more in softball than basketball.
It makes it an easier decision. Yeah. What was recruiting like when you end up deciding to go to LSU? Obviously, recruiting has changed a lot over the last few years and few decades, but for you, what did that look like?
Back then, it's kind of like it is now. You didn't take your visits until you were a junior, and then you had 5. You only could take 5 back then. So I kind of, like you said, facilities. I went to where the best facilities, the best team. I took all 5 of my visits to different places, but LSU was the one place that when I visited, like, everybody was better than me. I always felt like I was the best on my teams coming up. And to go there and it's like, dang, these girls are better than me. Like, I want to go there because we're going to win. So to be there and then to be a part of the first College World Series team in 2001 for LSU, and then to see where they've come now, 23 years later, is awesome.
Was that on TV?
We had 3 games on TV back then, I think, out of that whole World Series.
How big is that component? Because you mentioned, I mean, by the time we get to the spring and the College World Series, both for baseball and softball, is ongoing, it's kind of a deader period in the sports world, and it fosters so much attention. And now with the deals to make sure that that entire tournament is broadcast, and just the accessibility of being able to see these games. Did it feel like you were playing, and did it ever feel like no one was watching? Not no one was watching, of course, because there's a healthy support system in LSU, but I imagine the national recognition felt entirely different.
Yeah, well, back then, right, you only know what you know, and your sport is what it is. So we were just happy to play in front of thousands of fans in a full stadium. Oklahoma was in the World Series the year that we went. We went into extra inning game. I still remember it like it was yesterday, like a 10 or 12 inning game that went into the wee hours of the night. But to feel the crowd, I remember that experience of just a crowd then, and then the few games that we had on TV were awesome for family members who couldn't travel. So that was kind of the biggest thing, that being from Colorado and going to school at LSU, my parents really didn't get to see me play. So it's like, you better get your name in that story because I got to read about you. And so that's kind of was my motivation.
Yeah, it's crazy. I always talk about growing up in Highlands Ranch, Colorado at the time. Women's basketball was everything. Like, we had the Wiatr sisters, and we had players going to Notre Dame, and we had players going to Tennessee, and players going to UConn. And the women's games at certain portions between, like, Thunder Ridge, my high school, and Highlands Ranch High School, they would move the women's games after the men. And just how much that influenced me in seeing the respect. And you talk about an audience, like just being excited that there were people there. There are some communities where you come from and those stands are sparse. And so I imagine the difference of that often when I kind of reflect on how where you are leads to how you view women's sports. And obviously we see them more on television now. I'll go back to you, Cheri, and your decision to ultimately go to Prairie View A&M. What was your recruitment like, and how did that end up being the place to go play volleyball?
Yeah, so my process was a little bit different. So I actually went to a junior college for 6 months. I went to Otero Junior College. My sister also played there, played basketball there before me. So I felt kind of comfortable doing that. I wasn't quite ready to leave the state. But I've always wanted to go to an HBCU. That was something that was on the bucket list for me. I'd initially wanted to go to Grambling. We won't talk about that and how Kim Young told me I was too short. But anyway, so I ended up going to Prairie View and actually went on a visit down there and fell in love with it. So much, in fact, I almost missed my flight home from my recruiting visit. But Coach Pete, she still, brought me in. She still recruited me, and my teammates and everything that I'd gained during that time, we still talk to this day. They were my biggest supporters when I took the job at Prairie View. They were at games, sending me recruits, really excited for what we were doing up there. And so my experience, we did play some ESPN games. That was back when they were just starting to stream SWAC games. It was always the Grambling game, so that was always fun. But it was just a great experience for me, and I would do it all over again the exact same way, just because it was what I wanted, and I felt like it was the right fit for what I was doing.
Did you get revenge on Grambling?
I sure did.
Absolutely. Love to hear that. Christina, you end up in the administrative side of things. How did you get to that point in your career, and why the emphasis particularly on women's sports and trying to help foster that growth?
I call myself the unicorn in
Okay.
college athletics. There's not too many that have my path. My path actually started a few floors down.
Right here.
Right here in this building. So, and then took a job at American Airlines Center. I'm someone who stepped away from the sports world. So I'm a mom of 3, really proud mom of 3. And it's really hard. You won't find a lot of moms of 3 that work in this industry. They choose to step away or they choose not to have kids, which is really unfortunate. And so when my youngest started school, it was something I wanted to get back to. There was a reason why I started in this industry. There's a passion here. And it's important to me, my daughter's my oldest, is that, I wanted her to know, hey, if you have a passion, follow it. It doesn't matter where your journey takes you in life. And so I went back and got a degree in sports law. And so I was really fortunate. I had some people at Wasserman, which is a great global sports agency, that recognized something in me and gave me a chance to get back in the industry. And then, our friends at Memphis recruited me to come for our position. And for me to come back to working at Memphis was really to just have an impact within my local community. It's one thing to do these huge global events, but to say that you're really making a difference, in the community where you live. And they have phenomenal female student athletes. So I always tell people, I was like, this is a hard industry to work in. And if I have a really tough day, but if I get to be around the female student athletes, it's just a reminder of how important the work that we're doing is. And for them to see, people like you, that you can go on and be a female and have your own show, that's super impressive. The fact that we have 2 female head coaches sitting right here, and then obviously Alex is going to compete later this morning. Just really proud of the group that we've collected here, and what we're showing young girls, that there is a pathway.
I love that you bring up that you're a mom. And Coach Alex, when she comes on our show, she'll bring her girls sometimes. And I know you're a mom as well.
5-year-old little boy.
You're not yet.
Dog mom.
Yeah, dog mom. That counts.
She's the mom to all those players.
And to all your players.
She's a mom.
But I think it's such an interesting, as a woman, and frankly, in my early 30s, you bring up that a lot of women on the industry side sometimes feel the need to either not have kids or change career decisions because this industry does not always foster the easiness that maybe others do to have kids. I think about this every day. I talk to my therapist about it once a month. This is a constant that is something that can continue to grow. And we just saw the example of the women's basketball coach at Tennessee. It was an awesome moment, right? For her, but to have the choice to come back and coach. But in other areas, there can be the pressure to feel like you have to come back quickly. How do you see, and I guess I'll ask both of you, just how being a mom makes you better at your job? I'll put it that way. The lessons that you have learned through that, where we focus so often on the difficulties of it, but where it gives you maybe an advantage over your peers.
I can say the mom pivot for me started 2015 was the first time I was pregnant, and I had a miscarriage, and that was probably the most devastating time of my life, I think, at that time. But at that time and losing that child, that made me pivot and think every player that I have, what did their moms go through to get them here, right? And that process. And then 3 years later, right, was blessed with my little boy Deuce. And to be able to be the only one on my staff that had a child at the time I was at Iowa City, I was at Iowa. and to balance it. And you do have the guilt of, oh, I have to go to the doctor's appointments, I have to do these things. But for my players to see how they lit up when my baby was there and around and playing with them, and when he traveled with us, my mom traveled with us. It is hard because you still got to do your job, you still got to pay the bills, you still got to do all these things. But to have that community around me was important for our girls to see that. Even right now, my assistant coach, Coach Arvalo, she had a little boy when we were at Campbell. He's 2 now. She's currently pregnant with twin boys. So she's about to have 3 under 3, so pray for her, everybody.
I am.
But we're creating that environment where it's okay and we can do hard things. I tell my girls all the time, we can do hard things, and being a mom and coaching, it is hard, but it takes a village, and every day is going to look different. You're going to have your mom guilt. There's not really that work-life balance. In season, it's going to be work, but how can I bring my son around to give him the experience of being in college athletics, and that if I wasn't doing this, he wouldn't really get those benefits. So it's
early exposure.
Yes,
Tigers fan from the beginning.
Period.
Christina,
Yeah,
how
they
about
grow
you?
up as little gym rats. It seems
Right.
like. I mean, my boys and daughter are at a lot of the events. My
Yeah.
youngest loves volleyball because he feels like he's part of the action when he goes to the matches. You know, for me as a mom, it's the perspective that it gives you. Whether I'm sitting in a meeting and I'm thinking about the impact on our female student athletes, I oftentimes think about my daughter who's 16 and, you know, what would the decisions that we're making, how would it impact her? You know, she's almost to that recruitable age, and I can see her in our female student athletes, and I think that's just a perspective I wouldn't have had, obviously, if I wasn't living, you know, being a mom of 3 crazy kids.
Yeah.
You can edit that one out, CJ. They're not crazy. They're wonderful.
I grew up in the sports world. My dad worked in college athletics. My mom's father was in football coaching world. So it just felt natural. Again, like when you're experienced with it and the exposure with it, you're like, well, of course I belong in this world. I grew up in this world, which can help facilitate future worlds. Dogs belong in this world too, and we're not going to glide past it. What is your dog's name, and what kind of dog do we have?
Oh my goodness, Luka Jean, and she is a chocolate lab Rhodesian Ridgeback mix. But I did want to kind of elaborate on what you were saying about having a parent that was a coach.
Yeah.
That shaped me into who I am. My dad was the first coach I ever met, and he thinks he's still my coach. But, you know, I would go to football practices with him when he was coaching at Manual High School, and just, you know, just being around that and just seeing it really encouraged me to continue. Like, that was the only way I knew was athletics. And so, parents play a huge role in their kids, you know, wanting to be a part of it. And I think it's awesome what these 2 women are doing and making it look good while they do it. So
it's even interesting, and if you had a similar experience with my grandpa on the coaching side, because sometimes it's not always the most welcoming environment for women in the sports world, but when it's a family member, like, you're their family, so the people around them aren't going to disrespect the family member, and you have value from an early age, and your opinion and your voice, and that can really impact confidence. Like, I think that's something that unfortunately plagues a lot of women is, I'm not confident to enter this space that still feels predominantly male. But if you have that confidence, it can carry you a long way.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that's the key of it, right? I was around those high school football players at the time, and I was just a little one, and I was like a part of the team. You know, they would throw me their bags and stuff, and I would, you know, move them around. I felt like I was doing big things, but it felt like I wasn't a visitor in those spaces. I belonged in those spaces, and so it's just the comfortability with that, I think, is really important.
For both of you, Christina, are you from Memphis? I forget. So this is your home, but for both of you, this is new. For the 3 of us from Denver who have all landed in Memphis, I want to get your take on what you knew about Memphis before you came here. So Cheri, starting with you, had you ever been to Memphis before?
Yeah, I had been a couple times, mostly just for recruiting, and then I came to like a random baby shower that I was at, but had never actually like been able to spend time here. I was able to kind of walk around downtown early on when I was doing some recruiting, just wanted to see it. I like going to different downtowns, but kind of what I tell people, like, Memphis is one of those places that I consider a colorful place. A lot of music, a lot of food, a lot of noise and excitement. There's a couple of different places like that. New Orleans is another one that I say is a colorful place. And so when this opportunity came up, it was like, okay, this is going to be a good experience for me. It's going to be a place where I can grow. It's going to be a place where I can learn, and just the history here. There's so much history here, and I'm big on learning new things. And so It reminds me a little bit of Colorado as far as the weather goes. It's more of and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, if it's dry heat here, it kind of seems a little drier than Houston. Everything is.
You haven't been. No.
Cheri,
I hate to burst your similar climate bubble, but I would love for you to message me in like June. No, June.
Is it humid?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
That wasn't part of her scouting report.
I mean, it can't be more humid than Houston. Houston is does it get worse?
It's around there.
Okay, well, that's going to be a little
So many mosquitoes.
So many mosquitoes.
I'll just hydrate, get some electrolytes, make sure. One of my first days in the city of Memphis was covering a Memphis football practice, and it was when Mike Norvell was the head coach. It was his first year. It was like his first practice. It's my first day on the job at the local ABC station. I have my big heavy camera. It's like 90 degrees, feels like 110.
Oh no.
I'm there the whole practice. I'm in a dress. I'm an idiot. I wore a dress. We go to interview him at the end of practice. And like, this is my first, I want to do good on the job. I'm an MMJ, I'm doing it all. So I'm holding the camera. And I'm like, I'm going to pass out. I'm going to pass out or I'm going to throw up. And I just put the camera on the ground and I just walk myself into the facilities where I can just sit on the toilet and be like, I'm going to get fired. I didn't get what I came. I spent 3 hours here. And Mike Norvell came in, he goes, gotta learn to hydrate in this place.
Oh my goodness.
And that is a lesson I will pass on to you. Trena, so you were here in August. That's when I moved to Memphis.
Gotcha.
It's a hot period of time, so it is a little different. But what do you love about Memphis so far in your limited time here?
No, it's been great. So I was born in Southeast Missouri, so
you
straight
got
down
the humidity
55.
on lock.
Yeah, Haytime, Missouri. I was born there. So I moved to Colorado when I was 2.
Okay.
So that's my experience with Memphis. I came here 2 different times to play in a tournament. One time, like we always say, February is not spring, but we're a spring sport. That starts in February. One time it snowed when I was here for a tournament. When I coached at Hampton, and then at Iowa I came another time, and it was about 40 degrees. So from my playing experience coming here, it was a little bit similar to Colorado. That's relevant. When I come in the summertime, we have a family reunion every 4th of July, and we fly into Memphis, and then we come up for Bill Street and all of those things.
Oh, fun.
So I've experienced that part of Memphis, growing up. That's all I knew. But I love, like, the other side of Memphis, too, like Germantown, Collierville. That's kind of the other side that you don't see. But the downtown part, I loved it. I lived down here for 6 weeks in a hotel when I first got here, trying to figure it out. So I got a true feel for the city. So I just love, like she said, the music. The people is what I enjoy the most.
The people are great. Do you have a favorite meal?
Not yet.
Not yet? Do you have a favorite meal yet?
Not yet. I can pretty much eat anything, though.
Okay. That's a good city to be in. Barbecue brisket person?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Christina, as a lifelong Memphian, do you have a favorite food spot in the city?
From downtown, Itabina is a hidden gem.
It is.
Like if I'm going for a nicer restaurant,
that's a good spot.
Love BB King's. That's a place I tell people that are visiting the city. If you're just coming in to stay downtown, hit up that, and you kind of get the Bill Street vibe, but good eats.
Okay. On a day like today where it's cloudy, it could be Colorado weather.
Yeah.
But again, just
but it's not. Okay,
you just come back.
It's kind of Seattle-ish.
You coach an indoor sport though, so that's good.
Yeah.
You coach an outdoor sport, so best of luck in your endeavors. Hey, before I let you guys get out of here, Christina, where can people donate? Where can people get involved? Obviously, I will tell everyone to get involved. You can go to Memphis softball games. You can go to Memphis volleyball games. You can go to Memphis soccer games. Go to Memphis women's basketball games. Attendance has been up, but it can continue to grow. But Christina, how can people get involved in helping
send
fund?
you to gotakersgo.com/901women is where you can go and find lots of information. But again, just showing up is the big part. So there's lots of opportunities this week. She has free hot chocolate on Friday, so show up and show some love. They're kicking off their season, and then women's basketball is this Saturday. So we'll have a pregame clinic at 12:30 for all the youth in 6th grade and under to attend. And then some great activations throughout that game. Campus School, who is a phenomenal asset to this community. Their girls basketball team is going to be involved in both the men's game tonight and then also the game on Saturday at El Marone. So show up. We have some phenomenal female student athletes, and thanks for all your support over the years, Jeff.
Absolutely, and we will make sure to get you guys back in here throughout your seasons.
Yes.
Hopefully we're all chasing champions.
Period.
Championships. That is the plan here in the city of Memphis. On this Memphis Women and Girls in Sports Day. We so appreciate you all for joining us. Thanks for taking the time this morning. We'll take a quick break here. We'll come back, wrap up the show. It's a Grizzlies game day. I think a trade happened in the NBA. I don't know. We'll check in on it when we come back. Thanks, you guys.
Our fans have a huge impact on our ability to play to the level that we're striving for.
Drop off, Durant. Oh! Well, you wanted home crowd involvement.
I love those moments where you see our guys engaging in the fans, and the fans just get pumped up.
They are standing at FedEx Forum.
I would hate to be on the other side with the opposition when FedEx Forum's rolling. That's such an unbelievable relationship that our group has with our fans.
At the National Civil Rights Museum, history moves us forward. The question remains, how does history move you?
Keep on talking, marching up to freedom now.
Shinedown, Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum, Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
So these are a pair of Kobe 11 Elite Low. These were part of a collaboration with FC Barcelona.
I've never seen these in person. The detail on these are amazing.
It's fly knit, like, you know, the front of the shoe is fly knit. It's got the lunar line, I remember, and the
insole is removable.
Yeah. The Sneak Fest show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app. Grizz Nation gets set for tip-off 1 hour before every Grizzlies home game with the warm-up show. Get the latest news, notes, and analysis live from courtside at FedEx Forum.
This team is doing everything that Taylor Jenkins and his coaching staff envisioned it could do.
Join me, Lang Whitaker, along with Michael Wallace, Jessica Benson, and other personalities from Grind City Media, Memphis, and around the NBA. 1 hour before every home game, live at Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
CJ, do you want to talk just so the world remembers you have a voice?
Hey, everybody.
Thanks for letting the women speak.
Hey, you know, as a furthest right person on these here airwaves, sometimes you got to shut the hell up and let other people talk and share their experiences with you so you learn something, right? And that was super educational. Learned so much about all of those women and their journey in this thing that we call sports. And I thought one of the interesting things that came up from that conversation was like just being confident. And you and I have talked all off air about the difference in being a dude and a dudette in the sports sphere, and how so many times women and girls, for that matter, from that age, from 9, 10 years old, they get shouted down by everybody around them, and it's unbecoming for them to shout back. Whereas with little boys, we shout at one another. That's fine. You can do that. And when we get into the sports world as adults, so much of it is, hey, can you be loud? Because that's all I am. I'm just loud. And being able to be loud and make your voice heard as a woman in this industry is very, very difficult to do for various reasons. I think you do a great job of that. And I think those three women up here on the desk, that last segment, have found their place. And I would encourage everybody who has a daughter who's interested in sports to feed that passion, feed that fire, because we need more women in sports. Like, it can get real duty up here. And by up here, in sports, not up here, but in sports, it's so dudeish.
It's a very dudeish world.
It's just so duty, and we need more difference of opinions. I know before working with you, and I'll throw Megan in here, the empathy for the athlete was not there on my end.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, no, tough. Yeah, I don't care. Get out there and entertain me. Get out there. Tough, that's my phrase. Tough titty.
Say it.
I can say it too.
Fine.
Can I?
Sure.
You tripped out about Vag yesterday, so I won't say that anymore. But you know, the difference in perspective, the more gentle approach to what is going on the court, the field, or whatever you want to say. I think that is important to have, and it makes the conversation a bit better. So please, please, parents out there, family members out there, if you got a little girl who's interested in sports, feed that passion, feed that flame.
Feed us.
Please.
Please.
If they're acting like Jessica, don't feed that. Don't feed
No, I do
one.
think truly one of the coolest things about watching women's sports take off into this next iteration of attention and funding and support is meeting coaches like Cheri and Trena, who have now elevated at the point of their careers, come to the University of Memphis, Division I, coaching in their fields, played themselves, so had the journey of being women athletes turned women coaches, all while in the existence of being a woman in the sports space. And like, you need strong leaders to help carry this forward. And both of those women, impressive as hell. They join Alex Simmons as 3 very amazing women who are driving women's sports. Like, no disrespect. Brooks Monahan, one of the best coaches in the city. He has crushed it with Memphis women's soccer. He does a tremendous job. There has been something so special about seeing the rise in women coaching women's sports as well. It doesn't have to be exclusive, doesn't have to be one thing or the other, but just seeing more and more of that has been a really encouraging trend over these last few
Sure would
years.
be nice if possible to get a woman or two in a dude sport. I don't.
CJ.
I'm sorry.
CJ.
I'm sorry. But just as the most right person, as the furthest right person on these airwaves, if we can have it going one way, shouldn't we have it the other way also? So if we can have men coaching women professionally and in college, shouldn't we be able to have women coaching men professionally in college? I don't know, just a thought, just something I was tinkering with once upon a time. All 3 of them are great, incredible. I look forward to seeing where their careers take them.
We did have one piece of trade news that reportedly, allegedly, broke while we were doing that segment, according to Shams Charania. Well, it's according to Shams Charania. But, I mean, technically, it's reported alleged.
I think that, I don't know. Wait, no, that's the NBA trade. The summer deadline, the summer stuff is when it doesn't become official for like a week.
Right,
So this is official.
This feels official.
All right.
The Milwaukee Bucks are trading Chris Middleton, A.J. Johnson, and a pick swap to the Washington Wizards for Kyle Kuzma, Patrick Baldwin Jr., and second-round draft compensation. Our friends in the chat, friend singular, there was a big Kyle Kuzma to Memphis
Huge
for
Kyle
one
Kuzma.
day and one day only. I'm sorry for your loss.
Who was it in the chat that wanted Kyle Kuzma?
Has a new home alongside Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard.
I mean, he's got size and I guess athleticism.
He's got scoring.
Not really good defensively. You're going to put a lot of pressure.
All right.
You're going to put a whole lot of pressure
Listen,
on
Chris
the back
Middleton
end of
hasn't
that
been able
defense.
to stay healthy, so I
And
guess you're
he's-
pushing in on.
He hasn't been great defensively because of the health thing.
Exactly.
But I thought they were going to hold on to him and let him work himself back into shape for one last hurrah at this sort of a thing. The Bucks defensively, when they made the move to go get Dame, took a big old hit because that meant Drew Holiday. You got to move on from him. So yeah, they just hadn't had it defensively the past season and a half. But hey, Kyle Kuzma can get out there and score, can't he? Maybe they just outscore you. Dame, Giannis going down. If Giannis is driving down the paint, you're not helping off of Dame. You're helping off of Kuzma. And Kuzma's good enough to hit wide open shots.
I think so.
All right.
You're really banking on Kyle Kuzma being the best version of Kyle Kuzma.
the Wizards are a goofy-ass franchise with goofy-ass players making goofy-ass moves, right? The goofiness that Kyle Kuzma was able to get away with in D.C.
Doesn't fly on a contender.
No, he's not going to be able to get away with that, right? Doc Rivers will come in that raspy-ass Doc Rivers voice and, like, threaten him. He's not going to be able to be goofy on the court.
What's a soft swap?
So
the Wizards will receive a 2028 first-round soft swap, and Bucks get a second-round most favorable in 2025.
Oh, gosh. That's not where I thought that was going. I thought the soft swap was that
It's not a
Pineapple
hard
People
swap.
game.
I think it's because Portland already has that swap, so Washington only gets the swap if Portland is worse than Milwaukee and Milwaukee is worse than Washington.
Got you. Okay.
Portland is 9-1 in their last 10 games. I'm sorry. Their only loss is to the Oklahoma City Thunder. But the Grizzlies,
Get out.
9-1 in their last 10 games.
Damn right they are.
Winners in 9 of their last 10. Can they make it 10 of their last 11 in Toronto? We'll see. Don't overlook the Raptors.
Got to keep all eyes on Dick, man. He's going to be really good.
One thing with the Grizzlies winning this much, the highlight machine is tired.
You want me to do highlights?
The highlight machine is tired.
You want me to do
CJ?
this game highlights if they win?
Maybe.
Okay.
All right. We'll be back tomorrow. I hope I'm
ready
doing
for a whole
highlights
lot of Grady.
for a Grizzlies win. I know. I can't let you do highlights for it. But now I have to figure out how to creatively figure out a way to do that without... I can't just say it. You can just say it.
Just point to me and I'll say it. Yeah, just point. I'll scream it out. You say finishes in the hole.
Okay, goodbye, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. It'll be a Thursday.
He goes hard in the paint, Jessica.
Yeah.
He's explosive. He's long.